everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube. Welcome back. This is your fourth The Crowded Room episode review. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world. I'm just checking, is my camera connected? It is connected. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm a little exhausted. It's been a long weekend. Today, we're, I guess, caught back up again as I'm trying to, catch up on these episodes. I think officially when the next episode review hits, I think we're finally back on the margin. I'm not 102% sure about that, but I'm really, really hoping. But this week, on The Crowded Room, we're heading off to new lands, ironically, and probably, I think, the most intrigued and interested and invested I've been in the show so far. I feel like definitely for sure this is the best episode so far. My curiosity is now, and this is good. I'm very happy. We're inclining. We're gaining some momentum here. There's still, we're still getting more questions than answers, and that makes sense. We're not even at the halfway mark of the show yet, so it's more prevalent to get more questions than answers, and I'm still wondering how do all these pieces set up. It's like we're still in the whole, we're bringing in the pieces, we're bringing in more characters, we're bringing in more, questions, more connections, and, I for one am starting to finally clamor for when they have the episode where, we get everything to tie together somehow, all the plot points, everything we've seen thus far, but mostly just seeing us finally get out of the whole, it wasn't really a romance drama per se. I'm not really trying to say that, but it was nice to get out of New York and actually, or whatever other state or they were in for the show, the residential areas. It was nice to go out to the world, see something new, and be able to progress things interestingly. And that was what I was really happy about. And now we're the flashbacks are over, and well, at least the primary flashbacks are over. Now we're kind of start to see, hopefully they'll change things up a little bit. Maybe they'll do something even different. Who the heck knows? After this episode, I'm actually now the more excited I've been for this show thus far. So hopefully the momentum keeps going. So I'm very pleased to report that. But with that being said, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of The Crowded Room. So we begin, once again, right where we left off, I want to say. Danny's just having flashbacks to the last three episodes, just, while he's sleeping on the plane. So where is he off to? Where is old Danny boy off to on this, very limited funds, very fake passport trip? Last time we saw him, he was saying goodbye to the Statue of Liberty. He was actually going to go and say hello to Big Ben. He has arrived in London, which no pun intended, because the actor who plays Danny, Tom Holland, he's a London boy, so I'm pretty sure he was very happy to at least get a few days in London, so that was pretty cool. So yeah, he's in London. That's where I forgot the landlord's name. I thought I was gonna have it in this episode, but I don't have the right pronunciation. Hopefully by next week. So he tells him to come here. So apparently this is where Danny's dad is. That's where he's in. Pete. That's where he is at right now, and that's what Danny's trying to find. Who's Danny's trying to find? Find his dad. Hopefully his dad will provide him the next steps into leading in life, because right now he's a wanted man back in America. So right now being in London is kind of his own choice. Very scared for his life, not showing what to do, only having very limited funds to survive. He's just reading this book that his landlord left to him about London, which gives him only one address. He tries calling the area where Pete is at, but however, he does not get a response, so he has no choice but to actually venture into London himself, and he finds himself at a travel agency. He goes inside, the receptionist has no idea who he's talking about, and obviously, Danny's kind of this is his own leads, and he wasted almost all the money he had to get here, so I'm he's basically screwed if he doesn't get any results. But someone does lock through the door, a Mr. Jason Isaac, aka Draco Malfoy, no, not Draco, Lucius Malfoy from Harry Potter. I knew that voice. I knew that voice anywhere. I was I love this guy. I really do. He always plays a cynical asshole. Here he just plays a supposedly loving ally to Danny. He is a former business associate of his dad's. So he decides to take him out for a drink, because I think the legal age in London is a bit different than in America. So I guess Danny is able to drink. Or I think he is 21 by this point. They don't really clarify that, to be honest with you, that well. So they head over to a nearby hotel pub. They're just, Danny's obviously just excited because okay, I found you, and you said you work with my dad. So does that mean my dad's coming? Is he going to come here? Is this where we kind of pick up the next steps of my life? And he's like, oh, no. We're former business associates. We're no longer together. He and I parted ways after our business deal went south a few years ago, and I don't know where he is. We lost touch. He hasn't even no leads for him. Like, he doesn't know where he went. If he went back to America, if he went to another country, is he still in London? Just a different part of it. He doesn't know. So sadly, Danny's kind of once again at a crossroads here of like, he can't go back to America, and he was hoping on his dad. But even if his dad's friend doesn't even have a lead on him, like, where does he go now? Like, what is the next step for him? But he does inform Dan, like, let's talk a little bit. You came all this way. At least enjoy a few beers before we call it a night. So he's telling stories about his dad, and he's asking about like, oh, how did you get here specifically? How did you know about where your dad would be at least formerly located? Danny brings up the fact that he had the book that his landlord, aka I forgot his name, was the one who basically wrote in it, so he would know this information somehow. And again, I still don't know how the hell the landlord even know this, because they didn't really have a scene together in the last episode where they talked about his dad. Really, they never had that conversation. So it was kind of like intriguing. And then even Isaac's character, just is like, oh, all right, he was an old business associate of ours too. And even back in present day, Rye is like wondering, like, wait a minute, so you have yet another connection. Like, somehow all these people in your life in the recent years have somehow been connected to each other. The landlord that allowed you to live in his house for a couple years was actually somehow related to your dad and this new businessman you met in London. Like, this is all just, the coincidences don't stop, and Dan doesn't seem to be like, yeah, so what? It just happens to be a coincidence. Like, no, bro, that's not something as a coincidence. Like, there definitely something is afoot here, but they don't really express it. They're enjoying each other's company. They're just, having the time. He even asked Danny, what did you do back in New York that caused you to come here? Danny hasn't really disclosed that information yet. However, because Danny is, not quite kept right now because, he just came off a plane. He didn't even bring a bag or like a carry-on or anything. So he only has the pairs of clothes on his back and whatever's in his pockets, which I'm like, I can't even imagine how, like, if I was to dress up how I usually dress up to work and I just go to another country, I wouldn't even know how I'd feel. It'd be like, I need something. I definitely need something. Another what's the term? Another customer at the bar, another patron, comments about Danny a little bit, rudely, and Isaac's character goes up to basically tell him, say sorry. We're very professional. Like, just because he looks different from us does not mean you have to treat him without respect. The guy refuses, but once Isaac's character pulls out a switchblade, he's like, okay, I'm sorry, and it's like, good, like, good, be respectful, ladies and gentlemen. Be respectful, or talk about them after they leave. Never in the same moment. So it's time for Danny to go to bed. He's had a long trip already, so he has to go. I'm knocking out for the night. So they're walking through London. Very beautiful London tonight. I'm actually more inclined to go to London now that I've seen this episode, so I'm very excited about that. Then all of a sudden, Isaac's character takes into like the belly of London, like the true London, the real London that no one really talks about. They're passing by this exotic club, and they witness the owner leaving in a private car, and Danny and him are watching him, and Isaac's character says, oh, don't worry about him, he's just you don't have to worry about him. But of course, obviously, like, why are you like specifically taking a moment to notice him and then let him leave? Like, it's like, nah, this guy's something else. We'll come back to him later. So he drops off Danny at the nearby hotel. Isaac's character goes to talk to the landlord, actually, to let him know, like, yeah, Danny's in London, he's safe and sound. And apparently they have some plan going on, and Danny needs to like be ready for it. However, Isaac's character is like, no, I just met the kid. Like, we just had a couple beers. Like, it's going to take a lot longer for him to like trust me before I can ask him to do this thing for us. So it's going to be a while. So but of course the guy says, we got to get it done soon. Like, like time's ticking. So Danny finally gets some sleep. We cut to the next day. He wakes up. He gets a note on he's been very knocked out for a while. He almost wakes up anew, and Isaac's character invites him to get some fish and chips nearby. So he kind of like speed walks over through the streets of London. I don't even know how. Like, he hasn't been to this area before, and the Isaac's character just wrote the name of the restaurant. But I'm like, how is he supposed to know? This isn't in the age of Google Maps or anything. Like, the kid's gonna have to find him somehow. And like, if someone was to tell me, go meet me at High Kings Road, I'm like, I don't know where the hell that is. I'd probably be lost if I didn't have my phone. But he arrives there somehow. Like, he wakes up at 11:55, I believe, or 10:55, and he manages to get there on time, which I'm like, that's baffling. So he buys him some fish and chips. They're walking through a nearby park, and they're talking about, like, just how things are, what his next steps are going to be, and then, that right now, like, he's here to help. Like, even though that his dad's not here, Isaac's character's here to help him, try and get him, like, somehow settled, somehow figure out what is the next direction for her, like what does he have to do next. I think at some point, I don't know if they separate yet, or maybe it's been another. I think it's all the same day. To be honest with you, I get a little lost here. I want to say, yeah, eventually they head over to another building and they're starting to talk about what is Danny's true next step. Because right now, like, again, he has no real options. Like, his dad's off in the wind. He has no leads on him, really. And Danny's about to run out of money. Okay, this guy's very nice. They'll pay him for a couple meals in a hotel room for the night, but, like, he's not going to, like, basically fundraise his entire trip to find his dad. Like, that's not going to happen. So Danny does need to get some coinage in his pocket. But he does provide him with a lead that, okay, apparently that your father and I did business with the owner of the person we saw last night in the car, and he did not pay your father back his money. So I would recommend you go to him, explain to yourself that you're his son, and you would like to get his money from the job. And considering the fact he's a family man, he has his own kids, that, like, he might be tempted enough to give you the money. But I'm like, but Danny didn't really do anything for the job, so I'm like, I would even pay him. I was like, okay, cool, that's cool that he's your dad, but I'm like, your dad performed the job, not you, so I would pay him. And, but however, Danny decides to, like, this is a real test, like, if this is your only option, like, your only option right now to get this money is to go collect it from this guy, go get what's rightfully yours, and then we could start figuring out where you should go next, like maybe Paris to go find your dad next. Danny agrees, so he's about to be an actor for a bit, trying to get in there, trying to, like, plead for his case to, like, give me the money. So he goes in all confidently, like, just strolling along in there. He gets into the back. He talks to him, and, like, even though, like, for a second, like, okay, but I'm not giving you any money. Like, what do you think this is? Like, a handout? And, Danny's trying his best. He really is, but it's not working. They're not listening to him, and they kick him out, like, just shortly afterwards. Danny tries finding Isaac's character, but he's gone, and like, that's honestly, like, the most scariest feeling in the world, where, like, you're with someone, like, you're only with one person, and they just magically disappear, and, like, you are so fucked. Like, well, what do you do next? Like, how do you get back home? Where do you even go for safety? And he's running around. He's retracing their steps, trying to find if anyone they had contact with even knew of him, has a contact number for him, or has a direction for him. No one's giving him shit, or everyone's just, like, denying they know him. Eventually, he returns to his hotel room, starts getting mad that, like, he has no one left. He's all alone in London. And however, thankfully, he shows up, and he's like, I only did that to give you a moment of self-reflection, like, just to realize that how alone you are and how you need to, like, take care of yourself and not depend on others. And honestly, that as much as that's a scary feeling, like, he does have a point. Like, you gotta have that moment where, like, you gotta get thrown up into the sky and, like, hope to fly. Like, you're gonna crash a couple times, but he's very impressed that Danny still went through with it, trying to get the money. Like, he knew he wasn't gonna get the money. He knew that he lied to him, but, like, he wanted to, like, make sure that Danny had the confidence to, like, face up to something that is daunting or near impossible, but he's willing to face it on, and that's what he needs to, the attitude he needs to have, and he has to go back to New York and face his crimes. Even though Danny's like, I didn't do anything, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't go back there, but he's like, yes, but you're never going to get anywhere in life if you're running away. So better just stand up for yourself, go down there, and accept the consequences. So eventually he agrees, like, he just doesn't have a choice right now, because, like, he has no money, he probably has enough money for the return trip, and that's basically about it. So he does so. He boards a taxi, gets back on the plane, heading back to New York, and he heads right back to the house he was staying at. Even Raya interjects at some points of, like, oh, was that the last time you saw the guy? I think his name was Jack. Like, was that the last time you saw him? Obviously Danny's a little quiet. Like, it seems like he's still missing something from his story, which I'm like, come on, dude, come on. Like, we are, like, we're trying to, like, get engaged here. We're trying to get engaged. Like, tell us the juicy bits. But he returns back to the house. He stays in Ariana's room, probably wondering, like, is she going to come back today? Am I going to see her today? Like, the landlord's not here. She's not here. No one is here. Like, he's alone right now. He's legitimately alone. Like, there's no support system anymore. And he finally decides internally, yeah, I'm just going to give up. I'm going to, surrender myself. He starts destroying the evidence, the passports, everything that he has that can, like, really, like, be critical towards them. So they burn it up. The police show up just, obviously by the time we, get started, like, in the middle of the first episode. And that's kind of where, like, now supposedly everything comes full circle finally. We're finally caught back up. And I still find it pretty crazy that, they allowed Danny to, like, go to another country for, like, a couple days, and then he comes back, and now they arrest him. Like, I mean, probably would have been arrested him at the airport, but, like, it is what it is on that front. So they arrest him. The catch-up story is kind of over, but we're still, like, there's still too many pieces of information missing. Like, where is Adriana? Where's the landlord? Where's your dad? Like, there's just so many questions that, does Danny have the answer to? We don't know. But, like, he's still maintaining the high ground. Like, I don't know shit. Like, all this happened to me. It's very shitty that this happened to me. Like, I did not deserve this, but here I am stuck in this situation. I'm in custody, giving my life story to a psychiatrist that keeps blaming me for murders that I did not commit. Even he had to go up close to him. It's like, I did not kill any of these people. They all just abandoned me when I needed them. Or they used me and then they ditched me. And then Ryan once again asks, what happened to Adam? What happened to your brother? And he's like, I'm done. I'm not going to say anything. He was killed. He's dead. That's all you need to know. I'm done with this interview. I'm out. This was like 3 episodes late, but like finally he's done with this interview supposedly. So he leaves. Raya's like kind of, just flabbergasted for the day. She heads back to her apartment. She's looking at Danny's sketchbook, well, watercolor book, looking at all the pictures, trying to figure out how does this all fit into place? Like, how does this all, connect? And then eventually she heads back the next day to the institution, presumably to do another interview with Danny. But no, it's not. When she walks into the room, it's actually Jack from London. And the way they're talking to each other, it's like they knew each other, which I'm like, oh my god, they're doing this again. Like, why? So like they have a connection now. So it's like she's questioning Danny for having all these connections to all these people, and now she's saying like, oh, I know this guy too. It's like, we gotta tell Danny the truth. I'm like, oh my god, what the hell's going on? What did Danny do? What is the conspiracy? How are y'all all connected? It's like, finally, for once, I'm actually intrigued of like what the next episode is, because like I want to know what is so special about Danny. What did Danny do for all these people to have some sort of like plot line that connects all for him? I want to know, and I'm actually happy that like finally the show's managed to make me want to see the next episode. Finally, like I'm very happy about that. But that was it for this week's episode of The Crowded Room. But yeah, so like I said before, I think the trip to London definitely was the energy boost that the show needed to like really make things a little interesting, make things a little bit like less stale. Because I feel like the 3 episodes we got were like a little bit kind of like samey stuff I've seen before. This was kind of like okay, we're getting percolating over here. We're actually developing like legitimate questions. We're actually and also I'm a sucker for Jason Isaacs. I always am, and there's just a lot more questions. Like, how does his dad fit into the picture now? Like, where is everyone? Like, how does the dead bodies from like some of the scenes we've seen before in the previous episode, how does that all fit into it? Where's the landlord? Like, definitely they're finally progressing this mystery in an interesting place where like I'm legitimately like curious now. Like, did Danny actually do anything wrong? And obviously we're gonna have to get another flashback moment with his brother, and like that's still a big question mark. Like, what did happen to him? And all in honesty, so as much as I've been critical the last few episodes, well, the first 2 episodes, the last episode was a little less. This being like, we're finally delving into like just keeping it simple. We're just following these 2 characters for majority of the episode, and see like this was a lesson that they need to learn for him to like fully accept the fact that whatever life has in store for him, he has to face up to it, regardless of how it comes. But yeah, but there's still there's still a lot of things left unresolved. There's still a lot of things that we have to figure out about these characters, and like what is the through line collection? Like why do they need Danny? Like the landlord needs Danny, Jack needs Danny, Ariana needed Danny. Like everyone needs Danny for something, but why? That's the big question. And I'm just, I'm still curious about that, and I'm very happy about it, that I'm finally in that stage of, like, I'm ready to, like, receive what you have in store for me. I'm finally ready. And also, I did not know that this show was created by Akira Goldsman, who made Titans. He was been a part of a lot of writers' rooms, like, in the 2010s, like, trying to start cinematic universes for a lot of stuff that never really panned out. So, that kind of speaks to it, but this episode was the best so far. So I really much appreciate it. Definitely the trip to London rejuvenated the show. That is what I needed. It's what I need to finally get focused in, and hopefully this energy continues throughout the next 6 episodes as we proceed forward with the mystery in the show. And for once, for me, I'm very happy. I'm very satisfied with what we've seen, and I'm very curious to see what is going to be next for the show. So with that being said, I'm going to give this episode a very light 2 thumbs up. It still wasn't perfect, you know, but it's like finally we're getting to a good point. We're getting to a good point with the show. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this week's episode of The Crowded Room. Let's have a conversation down below, as always. And I believe that's going to do for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in The Crowded Room. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two besides our Crowded Room episode reviews. Right now, we're currently doing Nancy Drew Season 4 episode reviews each and every week after brand new episodes on the CW, so go check it out there. If you don't care about The Crowded Room, you're in luck. We should be back this Saturday with another brand new episode. Not quite confirmed that yet, I'm hoping, but hopefully by Saturday you'll see the next episode review, and then we should hopefully be all caught up, hopefully speaking. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to, and ring the bell for notification to then also follow on social media. But until we see each other again, for all you, for everyone out there, please, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.